As you may already know, ElderWorks is a not-for-profit organization supporting any older adult or senior who has aging questions, needs referrals for assisted living, memory care, home care agencies, or other senior housing options. Our complimentary services are always available to you. Just give us a call at 855-462-0100 or visit our website, elderworks.org, elderwerks.org, where you'll find hundreds and hundreds of articles and supportive material to help you through the aging process. Again, thank you for taking aging seriously and planning for your future needs. Enjoy ElderWorks Expo.
It is my pleasure to introduce Michael and Jacob from the Veterans Assistance Commission giving a talk on veteran benefits. Michael served honorably in the U.S. Navy. After earning his degree in management and economics, he began his career in management and customer service. In 1998, Mike was offered a position with the Veterans Assistance Commission, and in 2003 was selected to the position of superintendent by the county's Veterans Service Organizations. Working with the commission, the VAC's mission was redefined to include prioritizing assisting veterans and their families with the presentation and prosecution of VA claims. Jacob, I would like to introduce Jacob. Jacob was selected by the Veterans Assistance Commission of Kane County in March of 2013 to be its superintendent. Prior to becoming superintendent, Mr. Zimmerman was the lead veteran service officer at the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs office at the Captain James A. Lovell Federal Health Care Center in North Chicago, Illinois, where he was charged with maximizing the benefits of the 40,000 veterans that call Lake County home. Can you please join me in welcoming Jacob and Michael?
And just in case the applause wasn't good enough, I've got a slide of applause. Okay. As you said, one of the big things we're going to be pumping into this today is there's a lot of people and a lot of advice online. Sometimes you hear them on commercials. Sometimes you see ads for them elsewhere who say they're going to be your veterans expert, or are pitching something as an expert in veterans benefits. The one thing I always recommend, make sure they're accredited by the VA General Counsel. And you can go to the VA's website and they have a list of everybody who is accredited and recognized by the VA to present and prosecute claims on behalf of veterans' families. And that last one, www.veteransbenefitsillinois.org, that is the web address of the state association. If you're not in McHenry or Kane County, well, one, I don't care. You can call me and I'll help you anyway. But if you have one that's close to you, you can use that. It'll show you where your local VAC is. So real quick, I'm just going to give you, we're a local government unit that's created by the military. Illinois is one of a very few states that has a unique setup for how they create these commissions. The commissions are actually overseen by a veterans service organizations. Each veterans service organization, VFW, American Legion, AMVETS, Marine Corps League, they assign a delegate and an alternate, and they represent that post to the commission. This is a case where all the posts get together and they agree on the creation of a central benefits office. And that's the offices that Jake and I represent. So the commission selects us. The county board really doesn't have much of a say in who is selected. They have their own set of instructions, which is going to change January 1st. But that's for a different seminar that would take a lot longer than we have.
So are you paid by the state or by the veteran service organizations?
We're paid for by you.
Okay, the taxpayers, got it.
So by the way, I'm getting a raise, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So So we're funded by property tax dollars primarily.
Okay.
So your property tax dollars, part of those funds go to run a commission. And our job is to prosecute claims. And I give you an idea of what that means. And you probably know the numbers for your county better than I do. But at least in McHenry County, the VA invests about $128 million a year in the veterans in McHenry County. Half of that is direct cash payments. But then you also got health care and other programs that they do. So we're talking a lot of money here. So we provide professional advocacy. Again, I'm running at home. You want to use an advocate. You want to use somebody recognized by the VA General Counsel to do this type of work. And believe me, I've run into some of these guys, and all too often, I'm sorry, they know one little factoid, and they run with that little factoid, and everything else is wrong. I've seen that too many times, and I'm sure Jake's seen it once or twice. Disability claims, again, both of us are certified. We're certified by the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, the American Legion, VFW, AMVETS, DAV. Many of these organizations have certified us, and they're certifying us as to our qualifications when it goes to the VA General Counsel. And then we're accredited. And what does that mean for you? If you're filing a claim, we can actually access your file if you give us permission to. And that's kind of important if you're filing a claim, because then we can follow it and sometimes intercept problems along the way. Okay, so you got the disability and pension claims. Disability is compensation that's granted because there was an injury or illness in service that was chronic. One of the most interesting things I get from some veterans is they had an illness or injury, but it's not chronic. So, I had bronchitis once when I was in the military. Do you have bronchitis now? Do you have respiratory problems now that can be linked back to, no, but I had bronchitis once. That's not chronic. That's not going to be service connected by the VA. The other thing is, and my favorite example is, there's a thing that looks like a fire truck that runs on aircraft carriers. I had a client that was run over by one, broke his leg. Is that person going to have a chronic injury after breaking his leg when he got run over by a fire truck? Absolutely. If he's going to have arthritis and other chronic conditions related to the damage to that knee. Pension claims, really quickly, I didn't want to get too deep into that. Everybody's heard of, well, I can't say that, but everybody calls it aid and attendance. Aid and attendance is the highest level of pension. That just means that you need another individual in order to survive. These are in the old way that we used to describe this. Without the assistance of somebody else, this person will not survive or thrive. The other pension benefit on there is a housebound benefit, and that just means that the individual has a series of disabilities, and these don't have to be related to service, but their disabilities are, it's expected that they're not going to be able to travel around much. An example is that somebody with severe heart disease, maybe they're confined to the house, people on oxygen, they may be considered housebound, not aid and attendance. It depends on how the doctor writes it. And then the basic pension, and the one thing I like about the basic pension, is anybody in here 65 or older? Do you know you're totally disabled according to the VA? The VA considers a person 65 or older totally disabled for pension purposes. So,
What does it mean? Is that right?
what does it mean? You're old. That's all it means. And I put myself in that category.
Can it translate into money?
The pension can, but it's a needs-based program, which means it's going to be dependent on your income and assets. And they subtract medical expenses from that. And, if you think you're eligible for that, I can run an entire seminar on that. But, for the scope of what we're trying to do today, that might be a bit long, but I'm willing to talk one-on-one if you think you're eligible for Generally, people who are getting disability payments are not going to be getting pension as well. It's one or the other, whichever pays more. And again, pension is dependent on income and assets. Dependency and indemnity, a brief note on that. Basically what that is, you know, let's say a Vietnam veteran, it's known that Vietnam veterans exposed to Agent Orange are more likely to develop ischemic heart disease. Ischemic heart disease is just a very general term. It just means oxygen is not getting to that particular organ. So people who've had bypass, stents, you know, those are people who had ischemic heart disease. If somebody had their left ventricular artery, descending artery in their heart, also known as the widowmaker, they died of that. I don't even have to file the claim for the veteran. I can file it on behalf of the spouse and she would get this benefit. It just basically means that the veteran passed of something that was related to his military service. It's nicer if the veteran is service connected for it already, but if they're not, we can prove it after the fact, and oftentimes do. This is usually where I throw in ALS. ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and what's the long term for it, do you know?
I cannot pronounce it.
Okay. But Lou Gehrig's disease, if a veteran served 90 consecutive days or more in active duty service and died of ALS or contracted ALS, it's automatic 100% service connection for the VA. Problem is, a lot of the people who had ALS are already gone. This law passed in 2008, and a lot of the surviving spouses don't know about it. In fact, I knew people who were service officers that didn't know about it a long time ago. But the idea is that if the survivors don't know they're eligible for a benefit, a lot of these benefits that you're seeing with the PACT Act come on, if the veteran had already passed away of one of those conditions, the survivor may be eligible for these benefits. And it's not the veteran's benefit. This is a benefit for the spouse. Spouses aren't entitled to veterans' benefits. They're entitled to something else from the VA, which we call dependency and indemnity, which is basically legal term for insurance policy against loss. Okay. Although anyone, I'm reading this purposely, although anyone can assist a veteran with preparing a claim, only an accredited veteran service organization representative or attorney may present the claim on behalf of the veteran. In addition to accredited service organization reps located at VA hospitals, regional offices, veteran service officers can be reached through the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, Veterans Assistance Commission, and most important, we don't charge you anything. So that is the big thing. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of people out there who are claiming to help people with aid and attendance. Some of them may be pretty good in watching out for their clients. Some of them may be looking at their clients' money. And we've seen a lot of abuse in that. The VA General Counsel has seen a lot of abuse on that. And some have actually been prosecuted for that. And of course, we also do referrals. The VACs, we are very familiar with what's local. We know the agencies that are locally available. Oftentimes the veteran does not come to our office specifically looking for assistance with filing a claim or financial assistance. They're looking for other things because we have close relationships with the community and with the services in the community. Oftentimes we're able to help them identify another service that can address an issue that we don't specifically address. Yes?
Just out of curiosity, it seems to me, or maybe it's just how I interpret things, that the VA lately has been pushing people to do their own online filing. Is that nefarious on their part, or just to try to make sure that people understand that they don't?
What do you have to say about that one?
I'm sorry.
No, I've seen where they made it easier. I think they've made it an option to do that. I don't know that they're pushing that. A lot of their correspondence, that we see if you need help with something. They guide you to a website, and then they say contact your service officer.
Okay.
Too. So I don't think that they're trying to steer
Are you
anybody
guys
away
the
from us.
service officer?
Yes, we are.
So you cover the whole state though?
No. So he says he does, but he's the McHenry County Veterans Assistance Commission. We're the Kane County Veterans Assistance Commission. We do discriminate based on residency, so we won't help Cook or DuPage County. I can't ask the taxpayer of Kane County to pay for helping veterans who live in Cook and DuPage County when they have a significantly larger population for veterans than what I do, and they're not doing their own claims for them. So we're going to ask DuPage and Cook County to do that first before we would step in to do that.
So
but
so
there
there's
are-
no help for people in those?
There are.
There is.
So in DuPage and Cook County, they don't do claims right now, but as of January 1st, they're going to be required to by state law. So they're going to have to start doing those things. Just about every county, with the exception of maybe Joe Davies and Stevenson, north of I-80 has a Veterans Assistance Commission.
Stevenson does.
Whiteside.
White.
I don't think Whiteside does. Whiteside and Joe Davies don't. So in addition to that, the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs offices, you had that listed on another screen. There are those service officers throughout Cook and DuPage County, as well as American Legion, VFW. Those are primarily the ones that are still in existence today. Some of the other ones have closed. So.
And the services offered by your VAC is tailored to the needs of their unique community, not my community. My job is to tailor the needs to the community in McHenry County, just like yours is community in Kane County, but that's going to change a little bit too.
One interesting thing to note for our area where we're at specifically, I don't know, is this Hanover Township still? I know Hanover Township was here today, and I know just a little bit east of here at least is Hanover Township. That's a township within Cook County, and one of the services they provide is veteran services. And I think they do that because Cook County doesn't provide that service. So they have 2 accredited veteran service officers on staff. I believe they're either in Cook County, Elgin, or over in Bartlett off of 59. So this area does have some help for that too. And they go to the same training that we do.
So
that's
how
good.
do you find these people?
You go online. You can go to the website I had up, and I'm going to have it up again.
What is it?
And you can see who's available and the IDVA. And like he said, our commission, we don't have the veterans population of Kane County. So one of the things our commission wanted us to do is if a veteran calls and needs help, I'm going to try to direct them to where their VAC is, but we don't obligate them to only work with their VAC. If they want to come to see us, we're fine with it. And that doesn't mean Jake doesn't help people, and you got Huntley.
We're here today, right? And
Yeah.
Cook County is not here today, and we're in Cook County, so
Yeah.
we'll give information out. We just can't, for liability purposes, I believe, to be able to represent somebody all the way up in front of an administrative law judge at the VA. If we do something wrong there, it'd look pretty bad if we're representing somebody outside the county. And additionally, I think more importantly, if those counties aren't providing that service, that's on them. not on
And
us.
I think your county provides you with your errors and omissions. We have to have
Yep.
our own.
Yeah, we do have errors and omissions.
So we have our own, and that makes it also easier for us to say, okay, because we have to have it anyway.
Do they still have the offices I know Lovell used to have one, but it was hard pressed to try to see anybody in those offices because they were so busy or they were never there or whatever. So is there still stuff at the VA centers, or that they did away with that because of COVID?
At Hines and Lovell, they still have folks there, but those are primarily staffed by service officers of the American Legion or the VFW, and they're not there full-time, if you will. They might be there like Thursdays and Tuesdays or something, you know. And frankly, I've had the conversation with the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, which is responsible for the whole state of Illinois, and said you need to have 10 service officers at Lovell, you need to have 10 service officers at Hines, because that's where the veterans are. And they aren't at the National Guard Armory in Elgin or, you know, these other obscure places they put them. They said the VA will give you the space, and the veterans are already there, like open up an office there. So nobody wants to listen to me though.
Thank you for trying.
Yeah. But Lake County is making, they've got a VAC up in Lake County, which is Lovell, North Chicago. I think they have some kind of a presence in the hospital, but as a result of a recent law, I think they're amping that up, and that's a good thing. So they're filling in on that gap.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Rich?
So on the veteran service officer, say for the American Legion, it's just the fact that you guys are both accredited, right? And obviously you're limited geographically. And are they like floaters?
Well, I'm an American Legion rep as well.
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. So we were allowed to get cross-accredited, and we do that. The American Legion, I don't know, their staff, they closed, I don't know if they closed, but they were very bare bones staff in the Chicago regional office very recently.
Mhm.
They had a big,
I understand Katerina is still there
Okay.
part-time.
Ray Tozak might
I
still
think
be there.
Ray, I thought he retired.
Yeah, they're there. There's a couple of them. They're not what they used to be. And I'd say that it's the same for those other service organizations that are there too. But you can find them in different hospitals across the state. So I think the American Legion has somebody in Marion all the way in Southern Illinois at the VA hospital there.
Nice.
They do come to Hines occasionally. There's a full-time AMVETS and DAV rep at Lovell. So you'll find them out and about.
So is the state of Illinois going more toward a county
I think the whole country.
basis or, okay.
Yeah. You've seen organizations that historically have done this work, like Paralyzed Veterans of America, Military Order of the Purple Heart. Those Vietnam Veterans of America, even in Chicago, they've closed their offices. Their membership can't sustain the service anymore. So you see those offices close, and then somebody else has got to pick that up. And that's where we come in.
Okay. Thank you.
And we're very, very good at what we do.
Indeed.
Indeed. At least McHenry.
Okay, I put this up to, this has recently been signed by the president. I can't say that I've read the entire bill. I've looked at the 40,000-foot view of it. I don't know everything that's in it. I know that it looks like they're going to be expanding healthcare eligibility. They've given some instructions for doing research on the environmental health exposures. And of course, they named a number of things to be added for veterans who are part of a nuclear cleanup, part of Agent Orange, and a whole lot of burn pit stuff. One of the things I tell my friends and colleagues who were in Vietnam, yes, I understand that you were filling drums of poop with diesel and firing a flare at it and then stirring that stuff with that in your face. That doesn't mean they're ignoring you. I would still take that claim if you have chronic respiratory conditions with that. It's just, it's not presumptive. I'm still going to have to fight it. So presumptive simply means that the VA has conceded two parts of it, which is you were in an area that, in this case, burn pits. You were in one of the countries that had burn pits. You have a medical condition that's on the list that's chronic. Now we just have to figure out how bad it is and rate it. So that's what pretty much for the presumptive, it takes kind of some of the thinking out of it. We just had to prove that you were there and then you're sick. And that pretty much goes for most of the presumptives. The thing is, this is still so new and there's so much to it. I cannot pretend that I know everything that's in it. And it's one of those things, we've heard this from Washington before. We'll find out what's in it after it's signed. And that's what's going to happen here. We're going to find out everything that's in it now that it's been signed. Do you have anything you want to add about that?
I think that covers it.
Okay, this is the whole point of us being here. Your claim was denied, and now you're looking for help with that. And this is where I turn it all over to Jake, who's going to... Okay. This is my favorite one, and maybe you want to say a few words about this one too. And it's interesting because I just had somebody in the office with this. Him and three of his buddies were all sent out together. They were all in the same unit. They were all in the same area. They were guardsmen. They were mobilized under Title X, exposed to all the same stuff, had some of the same problems go wrong, so they all sat together in a living room, wrote out their claims, exactly the same, turned them into the VA, and all 4 of them got different responses. Is that a bad thing?
Don't know.
No. Every person is a unique individual. Our response to outside stimuli, our response to injury, our response to contaminants and everything else is going to be different. Now, are there things that I probably want to look at in that claim? Sure. But he was furious that this person got 60% and he got 20. And are you the same person? No. But that is a common one. And some of the internet experts, I mentioned the word about that before, I've seen tapes. Well, this is how I did my claim, and this is how you present yourself when you go to the claim, and this is how you do it. The VA generally is pretty good at seeing through that. They may not get it right every time, but they do eventually see through that. And I've had some decisions like that reversed later on. Because the VA, there's a follow-up exam on many of these. Okay. My buddy addressed that. The nurse at the VA, there are 3 different VAs. Is everybody aware of that? There's the VA Hospital Administration, the VA Benefits Administration, which are all the bureaucrats that are trying to pigeonhole your disability into a rating. And then there's the VA Cemetery Administration. And is there still talk about an Education Administration?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Maybe they gave that one up.
Yeah.
So there's that. Again, it goes back to your best bet, go to an accredited VSO. And some claims people can do themselves. Like you mentioned, you can go online and you can submit the claim to the VA pretty straightforward. But if you have problems or if you're not sure, it's best to go to an accredited service office. You may submit a claim once or twice in your lifetime. I probably do 2 or 3 a day. So I'm used to seeing this. Okay, reason for denial, missing evidence. And the simplest way I can think of putting it, it's like when you're sending a claim to the VA, you're putting a puzzle together. And you're trying to show the VA a clear picture of what's going on. If that picture isn't clear and there's something missing, the VA is going to tell you. So when we get somebody in the office, VA denied my claim, it's this and that, and I'm reading it and I'm saying, oh, well, they need this piece of information from your doctor. Do you think your doctor can give you this? And we have a form that they can give their doctor, and the doctor can fill it out and get that information, and we can do what's called a supplemental claim. That's what we use when pieces are missing. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, that's a pretty good explanation of that.
Okay. Incidentally, I made this go fast so I have lots of time to answer questions. The other one is higher level review. A higher level review is, and this is where I usually say, in the mind of the veteran service officer, the VA got it wrong. It's basically saying, we gave them everything they need to see the picture, but they didn't see it right, or they didn't follow a regulation, or my favorite, they resorted to mere speculation. You still get those? Mere speculation, by the way, is not a medical opinion. It's a cop-out. And the VA, they've had doctors that say, I cannot make this opinion without mere speculation. Well, then you need to send it back to someone who will give an opinion, because mere speculation is not an opinion. So they overlooked some evidence that's favorable. And my favorite one, they're adjudicating the wrong claim. And I've had that happen before. Now, when it's the same veteran, here's a common problem. I'm filing for a condition that the veteran believes is related to Agent Orange, and it comes back, and so I have to file it differently. It's called direct. So I'm basically saying, here's the medical proof we have that Agent Orange caused this in this individual. And we get an opinion back that says, well, it's not on the presumptive list, so we're denying it. Well, they didn't process it all based on what I turned into the paperwork. Well, then I go to higher level review with my argument. probably get the same opinion and end up going to appeal. Is that what you find?
Yes.
How many appeals are actually, when it gets up to like the administrative law judge or whatever, how many of those get reversed or get?
Outright reversed? I don't know. What's your experience with that?
9 out of 10.
Oh,
Well, I'm talking outright reverse, not remand.
9 out of 10.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Now, I usually am very good at least getting the remand where the VA has to go back and do it right.
okay.
I have a large number, I never really counted it, but I've
I'm
got a
just
large
curious, I
number
mean-
where the law judge was like, no, this is wrong, and turned it over and said to the VA, you need to check this guy out and rate him.
I just,
But by and large, most of what we get is procedural errors, and they have to go back and unfortunately remand the claim unless the judge says something like, if you can show me this, I'll grant it. Well, then we quickly get that.
it's just, are they just trying to wear you on? I mean, if you say no once, if you say no twice, how many?
Well, why don't you
I
address
don't
that?
know, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm
so-
just being very pessimistic.
Yeah, maybe you're able to wear out the normal veteran, but this is our day job, and I just love kicking the VA's butt every day, so. You're not gonna wear us out. Oftentimes, when you get to that level where you're at the Board of Veterans Appeals before an administrative law judge, this is your 4th bite of the apple. So as Mike's slide, I think, put together very well, is you're looking for those missing pieces of the puzzle during that process. So if you get denied on a claim, I wouldn't be my recommendation go straight to the Board of Veterans Appeals. It would be to find that missing piece of the puzzle, put it together, let the VA figure out another reason to deny it, because we've seen that. They deny it for this reason this time, and then they're like, oh, we just don't really want to grant this guy benefits, so we're going to pick a different reason this time. Well, that goes away when you get to the Board of Veterans Appeals. The judges see through that. They adjudicate these claims and appeals at that point the way the law is written, which is written very favorably for the veteran. At least as likely as it is not. 50% probability, one of the lowest, if not the lowest legal standard for any administrative law in the country for this kind of thing. So by the time you get to that level, first of all, it doesn't happen a lot. I think my office has, we have about 250 disability claims pending at any given time. We have about 40 appeals. And that 250 number, that's a very fluid number. That's a revolving, you get people in, you get people out.
Correct.
Very fluid over the course of 120 days. The appeal number, that could be upwards of 2 or 3 years right now, current time frame. So that 40 person number is pretty stale. You don't see a lot of turnover on that. And we've only done 2 hearings this year, or I've only done 2 hearings this year. Both of those were outright grants. So by the time you get to that level, you should have put those missing pieces together, and the judge is given no other option but to grant it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yes.
Just wanted to let you guys know, if you would like, I found the accreditation search on the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I can write you down the link for how to get there. And they have searches for attorneys, claim agents, and VSO representatives.
And I may have a slide on that, I don't know. We'll find out,
Mhm.
because I threw this together on a weekend. Okay. And my favorite place, the VBA. I love getting in front of the judge. It's always fun. I had one recently where the judge apologized to the veteran. That was my favorite one. Because I still don't know why they denied this particular person. But when you get in front of the judge, they are no longer bound by the M1 manual. Is that
M21-1.
M21-1 manual. They can look at the Code of Federal Regulations, the USC, and they can try to interpret what the intent of the law actually was, and they can go beyond it. Sometimes you get raters at the VA who are lockstep with the M21-1 manual. They're not going to change their mind. This is what it says. And I've had raters do that. Senior raters at the DRO level and now the supplemental and the higher level review. I've had them get stuck in the M21 manual and have to go to them. So this is where you absolutely want an accredited veteran service officer in front of the judge, because they're going to know what that judge is going to want to hear. And they probably have been in front of the judge more than you have. So, and that's another big thing. Again, like you said, it's our day job. We do this day in and day out. We know what the VA is thinking sometimes, and we're just used to doing this and seeing what the VA is responding. Yeah, anything you want to add?
I'd say oftentimes our employees are trained better than their employees and know the manual better than they do. So Steve is in my office, and very commonly he picks up the phone to the Milwaukee Pension Center. They deal specifically with the pension aid and attendance benefit up there, and tells them they did it wrong, and here's the chapter and verse, and they're like, yeah, you know what, you're right. We're gonna go ahead and fix that. And that comes from an informal phone call. That comes from my office when the VA didn't catch it. And that happens how often? Monthly, probably? Calling and catching on them?
Most of these things are being done during Zoom or some sort of online presence I don't, where's
Yeah, the hearings are Zoom now.
Okay.
They used to have it where you had to go to a VA facility to do it, either Lovell or the regional office. It was more often at the regional office. And now I'm just thrilled to death I can do it from our conference room. It's
Well, yeah,
wonderful.
that just makes it so more convenient, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is, and you get to start to know some of the people as they come back. Oh, hi, Mr. Iwanicki. Hey, you got it right this time. Great to see you. But again, like I said, this is where, as I say, the VBA, the Veterans Benefits, really got it wrong, and they're just not hearing you. They're not listening. It's oftentimes too, and this happens once in a blue moon. The veteran's case, unfortunately, is just not going to be granted. There's no way it's going to be granted, but he just wants that one time to talk to somebody in authority that can take his last address on the claim. And that's only happened to me twice over the years. But sometimes that's all they want to do. They just want to get in front of the judge and tell them their story, even though it's probably not going to get granted. So that happens once. You ever do any of those?
I kind of try, yeah.
I usually discourage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in those cases, that was both hearings at the regional office. Okay. And of course, there's the next one, Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims and Beyond. I said bye-bye now because now this is completely out of the control of the VA. So now you're going to need lawyers to actually represent the claim before a law judge. And they've had cases that have gone all the way up to the Supreme Court. And those make for interesting research. But again, most of the time when you get decisions at this level, most of the decisions, if you're doing your own research, are a single judge. A single judge does not make it a precedent for everybody. It is specific to that veteran. So I've had veterans come to the office with all this information about, well, they granted it here, they granted it here, they granted it here, it was a single judge. So what I try to do is find what the evidence they presented, and maybe if we can come up with the same thing, we can get it proved too. But that's not a precedent. So you want to add anything?
Yeah, the only thing important to note in this part that I'd add is that the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims is where it becomes adversarial. Up to this point, the VA is supposed to help you. They're not supposed to they deny you. But even when you get to the judge at the Board of Veterans Appeals, if they can't grant it, they're supposed to say, here's what we really need to grant this. So they're trying to help you at that point. They don't have somebody per se fighting against you. At this level, they do. The VA sends an attorney from their Office of General Counsel, and they are saying why you should not get this benefit.
Okay. This is where we jump into the questions. So we got through all that, and this was so we have more of an opportunity to address your questions, and you have them.
I'm a widow, I'm a Navy veteran. What can I have? What benefits are available to me?
I don't know.
No?
No. There may be some things available to you. It depends on whether or not your husband was service-connected. It depends whether the service-connected condition was related to military service or could be related to military service. It also then the last thing, if you serve during a period of conflict, then you may be eligible for pension, but like we talked about pension, that's going to be tied to your assets and your assets and your income.
Is that the same as aid in attendance?
Pension is, aid and attendance is pension. It's just a different level of pension. It means you're unable to, it just means you're unable to care for yourself.
How does that compare to Medicaid?
Medicaid, well, this would delay Medicaid. Medicaid means that your assets fell below $2,000 and you are basically medically incapacitated at some point. But you can be just fine on welfare and receive Medicaid as well. So there's a lot of rules to Medicaid. In the case that we're talking about here, I would expect somebody who's a veteran who would otherwise be eligible for pension, who is on Medicaid now, I would expect to probably see them in a nursing home or some other skilled facility. But they don't have to be. Sometimes they can be at home receiving a lot of in-home care. But if their assets are below $2,000 and they qualify for Medicaid in the state, then the state would be paying the medical bills, and then the VA, if they're eligible for pension, I think, what is it, to $75 or is it 90? 90.
$90.
Yeah. Because they don't want to give you so much that you're no longer eligible for Medicaid, which is doing a lot more.
But did the
Think of Medicaid as when you get to the Medicaid level, it's kind of like being awarded the state at that point.
I know about Medicaid, my husband was on Medicaid.
Yes.
But if I need help, you know, from what I understand, like Medicaid was limited to get in a nursing home, she was, but aid and attendance could give me money if I'm not in a nursing home and I need help.
If aid and attendance is specifically for individuals who are low income with very high medical expenses, who without the assistance of another person would not survive or thrive. We used to basically had that before they came up with the forms for this. We used to basically ask doctors to say the individual is helpless and will die without the assistance of another human being.
So you gotta be really,
So for that particular benefit, very, very specialized. It's a big math problem. I don't like math, so that's why I hired Steve to do the math for me. But he specializes in this benefit, and he's got a fact sheet specifically on it, and might be able to explain it
I'll give you a flyer.
just a little bit.
This presentation
better than we
was
are.
more or less geared towards compensation benefits and things of that nature. For veterans pension, it is an income need-based benefit. We're basically, think of it like a real big math problem. VA sets forth a income threshold, right? They look at your gross income from all sources. They subtract medical expenses that you pay out of pocket. So if you have a caregiver, or if you're in an assisted living facility, or something that's medically related, they deduct those expenses from your gross income. And if your remaining income is under that amount that's on that sheet there
What is that
annually,
now, Dave?
$15,816 per year, they pay to bring it up to that. So if you break it out per month, it's about, I think, $13, $18 per month. So again, like Mike said, you have to, it's not a lot of money, it's not, but it's there to help. And like Mike was saying, for the aid and attendance, that's the highest level. That's for a veteran or surviving spouse who needs help with his or her activities of daily living. So bathing, feeding, transferring, getting up and out of bed, things of that nature. So they look at those medical expenses that you have to pay, deduct that from your gross income. And if your remaining income is under that threshold, they pay to bring it up to that. It's not intended to enrich your estate at all. And if it doesn't cover those, you know, you're at a nursing home or facility, and it's not going to cover the whole thing, and that Medicaid kicks in, or you're on a Medicaid facility, then absolutely, that's where you're going to end up applying for Medicaid. Medicaid's not going to pay you that $30 that you're eligible for your personal needs. You're going to get this VA survivor's pension if you're eligible for $90 per month. So it's not a lot of money, it's not. But that's what it's there. It's there to try to help. So think of it in the aspect, if you were at home and you needed help with your activities of daily living, and let's just say by chance you make about $5,000 in income every month, but now you hire a caregiver to come into your home and they're charging you $5,000 per month for a living caregiver. Your income is now $0 for VA purposes. And the VA is now gonna pay you about 13, 18 per month, tax-free. So it's there to help.
How
Yes, ma'am, absolutely,
Can I get one of those too?
absolutely. And
So what if you're living with someone?
so are you living with somebody like as a spouse or?
Here, you need to get on
No, as
the
a
camera,
child.
Steve.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
As me taking care of my mom.
this was our plot to get.
Absolutely. They just wanted me on camera here, so that's fine. You guys can sit down.
I know, we're leaving.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, so I figured just in case, that's why I brought this in here. So like Mike was saying.
Oh, that's your
Steve,
body.
That's it, well, there we go. So if I could just backtrack a little bit. So let's talk about veterans pension. Let's talk about survivors pension, okay? So first thing is the veteran had to serve during a wartime period, at least one day. We're all clear on
Korea
that.
stuff, I mean, what constitutes?
Well, Korea, 50
Okay,
through 55.
even though it's a conflict.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, that would count.
Okay.
So now the VA says if you served at least one day during a wartime period, now what is your income level as a veteran or a surviving spouse, right? So those numbers are on this form we gave.
Okay,
Okay? So when they look at your income, they're also gonna say, okay, what level of care are you? Are you at the aid and attendance level, where you need help with your activities of daily living? Are you housebound, or you're confined to your house? Or you just don't have a whole lot of money and you're in some kind of financial need, right? So based on that, they have these different income thresholds that you potentially could fall into. When they're looking at your income, they subtract the medical expenses that you pay out of pocket from your gross income before they look to see what I call net income, what your net income it actually is.
does that include like Medicare Part
B?
A or B or whatever?
Well, A is free, so B is premium, yeah, so I'm looking at your gross, so if you tell me, hey, I get $1,000 deposited in my account from Social Security, I'm knowing you're getting about 11, 70, 10 per month from Social Security. So now that 170, 10, yeah, even though you're pulling it back, put it back in and pull it back out, is being deducted as a medical expense. Blue Cross Blue Shield, if you got a supplemental insurance, that's a medical expense.
Okay,
You gotta hire, your mom has to hire you to be your caregiver. If you're helping her with ADLs, that is a medical expense that can be deducted from her gross income.
Part D.
Part D, insurance premiums, things that are projectable ongoing. Yes, am I too loud?
I was just curious, since there's so many different things that factor into the equation, what kind of documents will we need to bring if we were to make an appointment to come see you?
Absolutely. So what I do, first thing you want to do, whenever you're talking about filing a VA claim, is start with what they call an intent to file. You want to reach out to your service officer, get screened for the benefits, and they, more than likely, if they feel you're eligible, they're going to do an intent to file. It's a placeholder. Hold your place in line for up to 1 year. So I'm going to get that document to the VA. They hold your place in line for 1 year. Then I'm going to screen you. I'm going to ask some questions. Where are you at? Are you in a facility? Are you getting in-home care? Bank accounts? Do you have an IRA? Do you have a trust? So I'm going to screen you for all these things. Based on that, I'll tell you what document you need to bring. There's definitely going to be a form that your doctor needs to complete. If you're in a facility, there's going to be a form for the facility to complete. If you're getting in-home care for a caregiver, there's a form the caregiver would have to complete. So I'm going to give you all that stuff. I'm going to say, here, this is what we need. Give me your most recent bank statements. I'm going to get all that information from you. Then we're going to have you schedule for an appointment, come in, and then we would fill out the application for you and submit it to the VA. The problem, you hear a lot of stories with veterans saying, oh, my claim, especially for pension, is taking about a year, 2 years, or whatever it is. That's because more than likely you went back and forth with the VA. We don't like to do that. And that's another key reason, like what Mike said, you want to find a service officer. We want to make sure that we develop your claim up front. You got everything that we feel you would need to be successful, and that way the VA doesn't have to send you a development letter. Anytime they send you a development letter, they have to give you time to respond. So what did I just do? I had it 30 days, 60 days, just to get that information. Even if I gave it to them 2 days after they sent it back to them, more than likely they're not going to look at your claim until the end of that due process time is up. And so think about that if you do it multiple times. Give them a little bit here, a little bit here. You're going back and forth. You don't want to do that. Average claim for our office for pension, probably about 60 days or less. You know, that's because we want to make sure we have everything up front. Okay.
So until your claim is processed, you're paying for your own medical care.
Absolutely.
Does that get reimbursed?
Well, it goes, if you are awarded the VA pension, benefits are paid retroactive to the date that we either filed the claim or we did the intent to file upon was filed.
but you still don't get medical coverage.
It's not medical coverage, yeah. It's not, don't look at it as medical coverage. That's what you're thinking. No way.
cash.
It's a payment made to you.
And then you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want with it. I tell people all the time, you can do whatever you want with that VA pension. The only thing the VA really is accounting for is what did you do with the money you worked so hard for all your life. So if you got Social Security, you got a retirement pension, and you're having to use all that money to pay for somebody to come in your house and care for you. And you're now at $0 for net income. And the VA says, we're gonna pay you $13.18 because you're a surviving spouse of a wartime veteran. We want your income at least at $13.18 per month. They write you a check, you can do whatever you want.
Well, but you need it for, to pay your
To
caregiver.
pay the.
That's fine, but you may not. You may not.
So I mean, if, for example, I mean, my mother-in-law, I mean, she lives up by herself, she's still able, I mean, she can't really drive anymore,
Sure.
but other than that, she's at home alone.
Mhm.
So if she only gets like $1,000 a month from Social Security,
Sure.
then she would be eligible,
Possibly. Again, so there's a form that we would have the doctor complete.
okay.
And that's why I said we would screen you and we'd say, here, what does she need help with? So the doctor, it's a pretty simple form. Does she need help with bathing? Does she need help with transferring? What are her disabilities? Does she need help,
So there has to be something physically,
for the aid and attendance level?
but just for the normal, so
So that's the aid and attendance. What I gave you guys there, those are all A&A levels. That's the highest
Oh,
level.
okay.
Those are all A&A. If I'm talking about a basic survivor's pension, for survivor's pension, you don't even have to be disabled. You just pretty much have to have really low income. Because that income threshold, I think, is about like $700 a month.
Okay, so,
And it's really low for a survivor's spouse.
okay, that's
For a
what I
veteran,
thought,
it's higher.
okay,
So those are all A&A
okay.
rating, highest level that you can get. For a veteran who's married is the top, that's about $2,400 a month. Veteran who's single, it's about $2,050 a month. And then a surviving spouse, $13.18 per month.
Okay, so you have to, okay.
Yeah, and those are A&A. If you look at the back, it gives you an example of some of the medical expenses the VA would count.
Okay.
But the pension, you said you have to have only like $700 a month.
That's the basic pension. Who can live off that, right?
That was my next question.
Exactly. Congress. You gotta talk to them, right? I mean, honestly. No, I'm being serious. Those are the limits that are set by statute.
So can you get aid and attendance and Medicaid at the same time?
All right, so I'm getting confused when you keep saying, can you get Medicaid? Like, give me an example when you say Medicaid. Are you talking about you being in a facility
Yeah.
and on Medicaid?
No,
Okay.
not just a facility. Medicaid only pays for nursing homes.
Well, you can be on Medicaid privately for prescriptions and things like that, not being in a nursing home.
I'm talking about being in a nursing home.
Okay, so if I'm in a Medicaid-approved nursing home on Medicaid, that $13.18 I'm saying that you potentially would be eligible for is gonna be reduced down to the $90 that Mike mentioned earlier. Why? Because Medicaid, if you were on Medicaid in a nursing home, what is Medicaid doing? They're basically paying for what you can't pay for in that
Paying for
facility.
everything.
Right, and they usually leave you with about $30 for your personal needs. Go get your hair done, nails done, stuff like that. VA says, no, if you're a surviving spouse, Medicaid, you keep that. Apply towards her cost there. We're gonna pay her $90. Now you get your hair done twice as much. Get your nails done, whatever.
So you can get on Medicaid to pay for the nursing home, and then aid and attendance, or whatever you call it,
Survivor's pension with aid attendance,
will give you $90 a month, which is,
more than the 30 you would keep with Medicaid.
so that's pretty worthless.
I don't think so.
It's over $1,000 a year and
Yeah.
3 times what you get from Social
Yeah,
Security.
I mean, I don't think it's worthless at all. I mean, it definitely is more.
Do you still get your Social Security then?
No.
Well, you're still getting it, but where's your Social Security? That's already going to this nursing home in which Medicaid's already counted.
Right.
So all that's already being taken care of there. So the VA is still increasing. If you look at it, it's tripling what you'd be able to get in that scenario.
$90 isn't go very far.
30 goes even less though.
$90 in most nursing homes get you a little bit more than you think, because they get the little stores and it's like nickel candies and stuff like that. But the thing with Medicaid is you have this 2,000, you fall below 2,000 on your assets. So you can have $2,000 and build that up to $2,000 as long as you keep it from going over that amount. So if you need new glasses and it's not covered under Medicaid, then you can still afford a new pair of glasses with that $2,000. But if you need a specialized bed that the nursing home isn't providing, which doesn't happen often, in fact, I haven't seen a nursing home that doesn't provide that specialized bed. But let's say they don't, you would have assets to purchase it.
So you're allowed to keep $2,000?
2,000, that's it. And You know, what's the asset limit for, it's probably gonna throw confusion on it, what's the asset limit on pension?
So as we were saying, it's an income need-based benefit, so in order to qualify for the pension, income is one part, assets / net worth is another part. Net worth has to be under about $138,418.
What did you say about that?
Your net worth has to be under $138,400.
And you can keep that?
That's your net worth limit in order to qualify for the VA pension.
Not Medicaid.
Not
Medicaid,
No,
your net
Medicaid
worth
was
is
like
400.
Yeah.
110,000.
So I don't want to keep talking on Medicaid because I'm not a Medicaid. I mean, they're completely two separate programs. You know what I mean?
But I know Medicaid because
Right.
my husband was on that.
I understood, yes, ma'am. But I mean, keep in mind when if you yourself were going into a facility, or when a person goes into a facility, they're going to have a Medicaid person that's going to work out all the Medicaid details and stuff like that.
But that's
Fair
only
enough?
nursing homes.
Mhm.
Assisted living doesn't take Medicaid.
Exactly. So then we'd be looking right here.
Well, you're
That's what
using
I-
the wrong, excuse me, I hate to jump in. In Illinois, you've got two types of assisted living. You've got assisted living and supportive living. You have to use the right term. Was that what you were gonna say?
No, actually, I was wondering if net worth includes potential sell cost of housing.
It's a good question. So your primary home and personal belongings are exempt.
Okay.
But if you sell your home, and that money goes into your bank account,
That counts.
that counts, yes, ma'am.
But
If
but when it came to this assisted living, the Medicaid version of assisted living is supportive living. And those are the ones that take Medicaid. So yes, supportive living in Illinois is covered under Medicaid.
Okay, but you said you can keep your house and,
No, and that's why I think we're mixing too much stuff. We're getting in the weeds a little bit. So for VA pension, for this program, I'm not talking supportive living,
Right.
Medicaid. For VA pension, they look at net worth and assets. Your house is exempt from the net worth limit, okay? The net worth limit is set at $138,000.
so you potentially have this money sitting there in your house that they're not gonna touch.
Well, your home is exempt, your primary home is exempt
For the veterans.
for the pension program.
For this program.
You got it. Yes, that's all pension related, right?
Not
So,
for Medicaid.
yeah, so,
Well, no, for Medicaid, if you're just you have to get rid of it, but as a surviving spouse, I got to keep my house and my car with no limits.
so again, yeah, for that program,
Confused.
yeah. Well, go ahead, let me try to confuse you. So for VA pension to qualify, right?
But I can't find a person to do this unless I have to go to the Illinois whatever to,
So you're looking for a service officer help, where do you live? Or where does mom live?
Glendale Heights, DuPage County.
You're in DuPage County, so there is a person in DuPage County. There's a Veterans Assistance Commission in DuPage County that they currently don't do claims, but I believe January 1st they will be. I would still say to reach out to them. If they can't do it, there is a Illinois Department of Veteran Affairs representative in the same office that they're in. Do we have DuPage County VA? Got it. And I will give you the DuPage County Veterans Assistance Commission number. So the number I have for DuPage County Veterans Assistance Commission is 630-407-5655. And you just let them know you're looking to file for a survivor's pension claim, right? This is for a mom who's a surviving spouse of a wartime veteran. If they're not able to help you, they will find the service officer that's in that area that would be able to assist you. So, and I just want to backtrack on what they were saying. There's a service officer that would be able to assist pretty much anybody in the state, just so you guys are aware. So you guys are not just left out there. There may not be a VAC, a Veterans Assistance Commission, through the county that would be able to help everybody in certain counties, but there is the Illinois Department of Veteran Affairs, who is the entire state. And most Veterans Assistance Commissions do claims, or at least starting January 1st of 2023, will be doing claims.
And if you don't have a VAC in your area and you have a question where to find one, and you find a number of a VAC and you call them, chances are they'll get you in the right place.
Yeah. And back to Mike's point earlier, and I don't want to give anybody
So
incorrect.
I could do that with my son, who's having some issues with some of the things that he's doing.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier. You know, feel
Yeah,
free,
it's enough ordinance.
feel free to call our office. Like I said, there's some minor differences between VACs. We have to carry our own insurance because of the law that the county board passed. So that insurance helps us out with that. But you probably have a service officer nearby, and I can at least get you in the right direction.
For this or here?
And
Or it's the accredited representatives, and they have, I actually found these lovely gentlemen on there as well through the search, so it's the official website.
And I have the website right there too. So
That's,
And what I was just gonna say is, my number is on there. If you guys are not in my county, you can still reach out to me. It's on the very first page at the bottom. You
This
can-
here?
Yes, ma'am. You can still reach out to me. And if you're not in my county, I can still give you whatever advice I can. I just can't represent or file your paperwork. So I would then do a warm handoff to a service officer that's in your area. I get calls from a lot of people, a lot of the times asking questions about this, that, or other, or maybe another county gave them bad intel or whatever the situation is. Get them locked on and here, this is who you need to talk to.
Okay, for this, the unmarried surviving spouse
Mhm.
is less than 15,000 after deducting yearly medical expense.
Yes, ma'am.
What if, you don't need a lot of help, but, between what medical expense you have and your premiums, it gets you below that amount that you can take care
So
of?
this again is this rate is for a surviving spouse and veterans who qualify at the highest rate for aid and attendance, where they need help with activities of daily living. There are lower rates for regular, you're fine, don't need help with anything. You're probably looking at an income level of about $700 per month, which
Okay,
is,
so wait, so this means you need help,
right.
okay?
The one I advertise for is the ANA level.
And this $700 means you better just go to a nursing home and get medicated, forget all this nonsense.
If you're in a nursing home,
It doesn't.
that would tell me you need ANA. I mean, I don't think a nursing home is just gonna take you just because you wanna go in a nursing home.
Well, I saw Homer Simpson do it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know, we're getting ready to wrap up? I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
it sounds like there are a lot of great resources available, and if we have specific questions, it might be more direct to find
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I need to.
a representative within our county, and it sounds like you guys have a lot of connections, so call, email, websites, in order to get connected to
Absolutely.
somebody who will be best knowledgeable about
Yeah.
the proper ways for the
If you're
county.
looking, if you need help with something and you're looking for some kind of assistance, the first step is to pick up the phone and call.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Have a great
Thank you
day.
for your service.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.